Hello and thank you for joining me today on Krista's So Crafty. Today we're going to be making a Santa jar. So the supplies that you're going to need are a quart jar, acrylic paint, ribbon, buttons, fun fur, and a buckle. When I began this project, I really thought that I was going to use these little snowman buttons. I thought, okay, well, they'd be really cute on a Santa jacket, so to speak, right? But when I got these apart and I went to put them on there, I realized that, they're too big. And I didn't want to just put one on there. I needed to put at least two. But anyways, so what I did is I just popped the back off and then I put some hot glue on it. And that's what I did to get them ready. So the next thing I'm going to do is to cut the fun fur the width that I wanted. Now I just held it up and I kind of measured with my eye what I thought I wanted. So it was about an inch thick, and I'm using my X-Acto knife, my blade, to cut the backing on the fun fur. By doing this, it allows you to cut the fun fur apart without actually cutting the fur. If you were to just use a pair of scissors, you'd get a very blunt end to your fun fur. And so this is how I always cut my fun fur, is just with an X-Acto knife. And I'm just doing the whole length of this piece. So now that we have this cut, what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap it around the top edge of the jar, and I'm just going to get a rough estimate as to how big I need that piece of fun fur. Once I do that, I'm just going to trim off the little excess on the end so that when I go to glue it on, it's pretty much the size I need it to be. And again, I'm just going to use my little knife blade to cut the fun fur apart. The next step is to actually start gluing the fun fur onto the top of the jar. Now I just used hot glue and it worked really well. So what I'm doing here is I'm just turning it around and finding what I feel is the back of the jar. And I'm going to start by placing a little bit of glue on the top, kind of that inch area up on the top of the jar. And I'm going to stick the fun fur on there, and I'm going to just continue with the hot glue and putting this on all the way around. Once I get close to where the two pieces of fun fur are going to join, I just put the glue on there and kind of pull the fur out and put the back in there. And then I'm just going to fluff up the fur, and you really can't even tell where the fun fur is joined. Now let's take a piece of ribbon and we're going to wrap it around the jar, and we're going to use this to help us to measure the length of ribbon we need for the Santa belt. So I just wrapped it around, kind of overlapped it a little bit, marked it, and that's where I'm going to cut it. This is not an exact science by any means, so every jar is a little different. I think this is like a pickle jar that I'm using, so every jar is going to be a little bit different. The other thing you're going to need is a buckle. So I have this little gold part of a bracelet that I've had kicking around in my craft room. I'm always keep little parts and pieces and stuff like this because you never know when you're going to use it. And in this case, this little part of the bracelet is going to work perfect for a buckle for Santa's belt. Because I'm using ribbon, the ribbon will fray. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a lighter and I'm just going to lightly burn the edges of the ribbon, and this will just help the ribbon to stop fraying. And then what I want to do is I just want to take and find the center of that ribbon and make sure that the buckle is in the center of it. And I'm going to put some glue on the back side just to hold the ribbon in place and so that the buckle is not going to be sliding around. Now we can go ahead and figure out our placement on the jar for our belt. So I'm just kind of placing this around, seeing where I want it, and then I'm going to take my glue and I'm going to just put some glue on there. And I'm not trying to overthink it too much, but I did try to make it so that the belt buckle was on the front of the jar, away from where we joined the fun fur together. Not that you can really see it, but again, that's just how my brain works, is I wanted to put this on the front of the jar. So once I get that on there, I put a bunch of glue on the back of the belt buckle itself, and I'm going to place that onto the jar. And then all I'm going to do is I'm going to take my ribbon and I'm going to pull it snugly, not real tight, and around the jar, and I'm going to place a little bit of glue to hold that in place. And of course I want to make sure I get it as straight as possible. We don't want Santa's belt buckle to be crooked. So I just put that on there, and now I'm going to take the other piece and I'm going to pull it around the jar as well and join it up to where the other one is, and I'm just going to put some glue and overlap that a bit. And just like that, our little jar is starting to come together. We only have to put the buttons on and we're all done. So our next step is to put the buttons on. So this is where I'm trying these snowman buttons, and I realized that, you know what, they're just too big and I don't like how they're fitting on there, and so I'm going to swap them out for just some little white buttons that I had in my stash. Oh, that's a different button. I'll have to go find another one. I'm really happy that I changed out these snowman buttons for these little white buttons. I think these buttons work a lot better with the whole Santa suit kind of a thing that I have going on here. And so again, I just got these buttons out of my stash. So I'm just using a little bit of hot glue, and I've lined them all up, as you can see, just so that I can get my placement correct. And then I put a little bit of hot glue and then pop the button on there. I want to thank you for coming and joining me today as I made this little Santa jar. Now you can put a flower arrangement in there, you could put candy canes in there, I don't know, anything that you want to display, I guess. This is a fun little project and I really hope you enjoyed it. Thank you again for joining me, and happy crafting.